Didn't you make them? Sancho. Have you got your makeup done?
Yes.
If you're there, let us know if there's any sound if you're watching. If you're watching live, we're just about to start the session. I've got my phone plugged in, but I need to know if you can hear me. Sound. How do you know that? Crikey, it's in a vortex. Okay, good.
What's she watching?
Well, that's the two that are watching. Yeah, great. You can watch me here. I'm here. I'm here. Watch me here if you want. Cool. Excellent.
So for anybody who can't see what's going on, if you've got a mobile phone and you...
Cool. I'm going to go on the stage now.
Watch what's going on your mobile phone in here at the moment.
Yeah.
That's weird. That is weird. What's your son?
I go here. Oh no, I can't quite watch fast enough unless there's a delay.
No, I'll bring it up on my phone. Watch yourself. Yeah. Watch myself. What are we doing now, Robin? Who's in the pub quiz? No. Well, actually, pub quiz. I quite like it though. Where's everybody gone? Are they all? You can leave now and beat the traffic. No, there's one or two who they didn't even mean to come. Oh right, some people didn't even mean to come and they just saw a crowd and wandered in. Is everybody happy?
Pub quiz. Question number 1. What is the square root of -1? Aye. Who said that? You clever git.
Could you explain that for those of us that didn't listen in maths classes?
It is right. It is I. It doesn't exist. The -1 does not exist.
Oh.
Or it does, but it's called that.
Someone just breathed a relief then.
Sorry, I was going to sit back down again.
Oh, excuse me, Robin, he's behind you there.
That's it.
We're alright, we're alright. I'll try not to knock it over.
Question number 2. So what we're going to talk about now, Mr. Geoff?
Is everyone out of questions? I mean, we've... Nah, I think there's more questions.
Right.
I've dealt with lots of car-related questions in the break, actually. Question, hang on.
Who killed Paul McCartney?
Which one? The first one or the one that they replaced it with?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Does anybody know who McCartney in the comments? In the comments? In the real people? No? Abraham Lincoln. Any advance on Abraham Lincoln? I'll take a 50. No?
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Jimmy Savile. You heard it here first. Genghis killed Paul McCartney. No, we're all drawing a blank. Any other questions? What we got? Anybody got anything that John, you want to hear John or myself talk about? Any other subjects? One right there.
I was talking in the break to a gentleman here, and I said the next question about Paul McCartney, very strangely. But my hobby is cars, Chinese girls, and
Cars, Chinese girls and model trains. That is the YouTube channel I dream to make.
Anyway, lovely afternoon at the Swindon Club.
The Swindon Club?
Yes.
Was that for cars, Chinese girls or model trains?
For model trains.
Right, okay.
Talking to a guy up from one of the southern clubs, he said, yes, you've heard of Paul McCartney and Paul McCartney. He said, I've met him twice. The first time was when he was a young lad in North Wales. Paul McCartney would come out cycling with George Harrison. The two were really good friends. So when Paul McCartney comes out of the Rye, because his big house is just up on the hills, he said, oh, hello, Paul, we meet for the second time. We met for the first time in North Wales at a certain place. And I said, oh, I've never been to North Wales. Bang.
Yeah, the Paul McCartney conspiracy is an interesting one. It's one of those that's, I know a huge amount about it.
Mark Devlin's the guy. My mate Mark.
And Mike Williams.
And Mike Williams, yeah.
But this was a person genuinely who'd actually met him twice, as a young boy in North Wales with his friend, because he's cycling, he's very exposed as he's cycling. And again, when he was completely changed. The reason was that whenever Paul McCartney comes out, he has to be prepped to the questions, or they're recorded and put out later.
Isn't one of them about 4 inches taller than the other one?
Correct. No, he is. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know which way around that is.
William's he's over 6 feet. Paul was about 5'9", 5'.
Okay.
Anyway, his conclusion was that the government very high up and said, well look, if we announce that Paul McCartney is dead, the economy does a nosedive. We can't affect the economy. We've got to do a cover-up. So after the accident, they go to India. So they're out of the country and out of people's minds, and then they come back with completely different music. And somebody has had extensive plastic surgery and been taught how to be Paul McCartney.
So what happened to the original Paul McCartney?
Car crash, wasn't it? That was,
Yeah. I
Well,
know
he
it
was
was-
murdered. Some people think he was murdered.
I know he was involved in a car crash, but are we saying that that's what killed him? He didn't recover from that. Is that the idea?
Murdered.
Murdered how?
He wouldn't go along with the drugs agenda.
Okay. Do you have evidence for this?
Huh?
Do you have
Well,
evidence
there's books about it. Not specifically.
for Not put.
the music industry was interesting as well.
27 club, isn't it?
27 Club, yeah. And a lot of that comes down to money as well, because many of the artists in their back catalogue worth more to the company and the shareholders if they're dead. So a lot of them are bumped off for financial reasons.
Jimmy Brooks.
Yep.
He was another one.
Prince.
More recently, Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of
Music is full of
He
it.
was a 27 clubber.
Kurt Cobain.
Who?
Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain, yeah.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? The Kurt Cobain one.
Jim Morrison was it?
Have you ever tried that door trick? You know,
Trying to hang yourself from
hang
the
yourself,
door.
yeah, from the door. No?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Just
I haven't tried to shoot myself, use toes to pull the trigger either. That didn't work.
Was Chester Benningfield in the 20s?
Chester Bennington.
That's what I meant. Linkin Park.
Yeah, Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, was he was about to expose all the
Yeah.
paedophilia in the pop industry in America, and he was suicided along with his mate. Who was in another band a week later. They were both planning to, kind of
Have you
expose.
looked at the similarities between
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
Podesta, John Podesta? Because there's rumours he's his son, isn't it?
No.
Chester Bennington is John Podesta's.
They're
If you look
so
at them,
similar,
they're
it's
identical.
uncanny.
There you go. Any questions from anyone watching on YouTube that we can? Can you see any comments there?
Who's got?
Someone think of some questions while
No,
Robin puts his
fine.
contacts in and we'll see if there's any
God,
comments.
I can't see it.
Oh.
Why, you haven't got anything?
John and Robin, hold the room.
Come on, you need to run it.
Can't see it.
Go on, John.
What Matt's
Let's go.
supposed to do?
No, I don't know. Let's go and talk about something else. But,
Alright.
right, fossils. Oh,
Apart from being one, I don't know really what else to say.
what about fossils in the future?
Here we go.
This is
Come on,
like-
Robin, spit it out.
Now, we've always thought about, we see things in the past. What's going on? Who are you listening to now? Anyway, we see fossils of things in the past. What are people in the future to have as fossils? And I'm thinking of.
We had a really funny chat about this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought about
really funny chats with him about
Like-
say exactly the same thing.
the evolution of the way it's going at the moment is that we're going to get a Motability scooter stuck in some mud, and then the person.
There's a big fat guy out on a mobility scooter who happens to
come upon some mud.
Yeah.
Right. Goes
Gets
in,
stuck.
gets stuck, gets covered over, and then in
Yeah, well, fly tipped
Thousands of
over
years'
with
time, yeah.
bits of rubbish plastic and Chinese rubbish that we get as landfill. He gets then like entombed in bits of rubbish that's sent from China, and we find this fossilized blob. People think of the evolution of man then.
I think they'll call our age the age of batteries and plastic, won't they?
And I think we're on a really good trajectory of evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly.
I hope that the people in the future will look back and say, why did so many people fall for it and not see through it? And why was it the few, you know, that were able to see what's going on around us?
And they'll say, if it wasn't for that John Hamer and Geoff Rice cars, where would we be today?
Someone said on YouTube, Geoff, when are you going to buy a Cybertruck? A couple of things on that. They're not legal in Europe. They don't meet the European stuff, so I can't buy one. But I quite like the Cybertruck. I think a lot of people like to hate on the Tesla Cybertruck, but I like anything that's a bit different. And what Tesla did with the Cybertruck, regardless of what you think about Elon Musk and all this sort of stuff, what they did with the Cybertruck was totally reinvent the wheel, and I think that's pretty cool. But this whole like anti-Elon Musk Tesla thing has been very strange. You've got organisation around making stickers, and someone went out and put a load of Nazi salutes on Tesla superchargers, which like someone's financing this, someone's paying for it. So it's another one of these. Yeah, probably, yeah. And it's meant to look, it's astroturfing essentially. It's meant to look like a grassroots movement when it's not. It's a movement that is coming from the top. You know, if I decide that I don't like Elon Musk, I'm not going to pay my sticker man to make a load of stickers. You just don't. It's bought and paid for. That's the thing. So the anti-Elon Musk thing is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deliberate division again.
Yeah, deliberate division, yeah.
All the time, it's division. You get people like Elon Musk, now they don't like Elon Musk. It's like,
yeah,
same
and
again.
again, it's sort of like everybody is, you've got to have somewhere to direct your hate. We're always being told where to direct that hate. Oh, today we hate Donald Trump, today we hate Elon Musk, today it's Nigel Farage. You know, people have to be told where to direct their
It's like the two-minute hate in 1984. Anybody who's ever read 1984?
banging
The
pots and
2-minute
pans
hate.
at 8 o'clock. That was the thing with the banging pots and pans. That's what I saw. I saw the 2 minutes of hate from 1984 and I thought, oh wow, people are really falling for this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any other subjects, questions, moments in history that you want John to discuss? Titanic, say Titanic, say Titanic.
Don't say Titanic. Okay, say Titanic.
Future.
Yeah. So
That's me out because I'm a historian.
Let's listen to it. Let's listen.
do you think that Trump has been brought in, let in to crash the economy, to bring digital currency and ID in the next few years, couple of years?
You or me?
Very good.
You go first.
You go first. Right, you go first. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Trump is not what he's portrayed to be, without a doubt. He is a. He's been brought in my view. Okay, I'm not saying I'm correct. I don't know for sure, but in my view, Trump has been brought in to become a saviour for the truth movement. Okay, but don't believe it. It's Trump is just as bad, if not 20 times worse than all the rest of them. Absolutely. QAnon, forget it. It's a psyop. Absolutely, it falls for it. It's a psyop. I'm sorry to have to say that. But yes, it's been brought in to further the agenda.
If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. It's one of those, isn't it?
Exactly that. Exactly.
I think you've got to be careful with all the people that pop above the parapet and appear to be this saviour. Elon Musk, you know, a lot of people are looking at Elon Musk with Donald Trump, and they'll do a lot of good stuff where the truth movement will go, oh yeah, that's brilliant, look what they're doing. But at the same time, Elon Musk mentions stuff going on. Hand over there. Just
The assassination from Trump then, and they just nicked his ear.
Psyop.
Psyop. They wanted him dead, he'd be dead.
Well, I don't know whether they on purpose just nicked his ear or whether it was all made up completely. I don't know.
I saw a video You know, the original one where he clutched his right ear, went down, back up again, shouting, fight, fight, fight. Somebody took a video from behind the podium, and it was his left ear that he clutched and went down. That was funny.
Thank you, Leslie.
That event as well galvanised people behind him, didn't it? So, you know, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Hand up there.
So, go for that. Go for it.
Sorry, can I ask for your thoughts on Robert Kennedy?
Similar, really. You know, he appears on the surface to be a good guy, anti-vaxxer, big mate of Trump, red flag. Yeah, I think he's just part of the agenda. I'm sorry to say. I wish it was different, but I really do believe that he's just part of the agenda.
Do you want my glasses?
No, I was just seeing what it was.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't quite catch who you were talking about just there, but who do you think, well, what do you think the independent movement represents in Bridges and the like, and all the independent councillors who are standing in a few weeks' time? You're saying politics is dead. What the hell's going on there with the independent movement?
I think it's a difficult one because, like anybody that saw my video with the councillor the other day, you end up with a bunch of people with pitchforks, but too many movements get fragmented too quickly, which dilutes what they're trying to do. What's really difficult is pulling people together to all move together in the same direction at the same time, because we see this so often, and lots of you will have been involved in different truth movements and different WhatsApp groups and different Telegram groups, and you'll all know how stuff has fragmented and people have split up. And I worry that with groups like Reform and Richard Tice, that and with the Trump stuff, all of it is a way to hijack the energy that the free-thinking people have got and misdirect. So, no.
But that energy is truth. Okay, so how do we represent the truth? Because it's truth, yeah?
I think for me the answer is transparency, and people need to be able to answer. And if you've got anybody that can't answer questions on anything, then that's got to be that. So the minute somebody can't answer a question about something because of who's financing them or what they think they're going to say or the way the media's going to react, then they're out. But sadly that means most people are out.
The big issue with the truth movement, as I see it, is that it's disparate. There's so many internal squabbles and conflicts and, you know, oh, that guy says this and I don't agree with that, therefore everything he says is utter bollocks. This is what we're about, and, you know, the opposition, people who sit up here, rulers with an iron fist, they are, I'm not saying they're totally in sync, but they're far, far more in sync. We have too many divisions, too many, you know, rift between us all. We need to get together and come up with a consensus of where we're going. That's the problem, but it's to do.
This is the thing. I mean, if you've got, you know, if John's got 100 subjects, you can't expect to agree with John on 100.
Absolutely.
We need to pick the top 10, the most important, and say, okay, well, we all agree with those. Therefore, we've got to let the rest slide. We're all together. You know, everybody's moving in that same direction, and I don't fully how you do that. The other bit is if a saviour did arise who wanted to galvanise people, they would immediately be attacked, and then half the truth movement will say, oh, well, they're a psyop. I mean, you know, I've heard people say that Richard Voves is controlling. You're like, well, how do we manage this? You've got Richard Voves and Andrew Bridgen who've come and done talks at the barn, and yet you've still got people that are saying, oh, well, Andrew Bridgen is XYZ because he said XYZ, and Richard Voves is this. It's really difficult. I don't know, is there some sort of...
And John Hamer is a total shill because he believes in flat earth or is a globe earth questioner. You know, it's part of the course and you just accept it, but it doesn't help the movement, you know.
You've got to get over
Answers on a postcard.
Answers on a postcard to John in Scarborough.
Hi, sorry to throw another person at you, but I'm wondering whether you think Putin and the other Russian politicians like Lavrov and so on are very intelligent and sometimes seem to speak more truth, perhaps, than others. Do you think they're part of the wider control agenda, or are they demonised because they are a little bit outside it?
Well, shall I say this?
Yeah, go for it.
My view is that Putin is part of it. It's all theatre. Putin is, you know, on the surface he appears to the truth movement to be a good guy, but is just controlled opposition in effect. Yeah. My view. Okay, I'm not saying that is absolutely the case, but that is what my gut tells me. Yeah. I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I don't know. Who knows?
a world of lies.
What do you think, Julian?
Klaus would agree with you, because he actually said when they were talking about infiltrating governments.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do apologise. Not you.
Start again.
Uncle Klaus was talking about infiltrating the governments. Remember that statement he made?
Absolutely.
And one of the names that he raised was Putin.
Yeah.
As being part of it. So even it came from his lips as well. So
yeah.
Trump was Operation Warp Speed, if you remember.
Yeah.
Before old Joe arrived on the scene. Poor old Joe. But Trump was Operation Warp Speed, and that was to bring in a certain medical intervention.
Yeah. All the current world leaders, or most of the current world leaders, they're part of what is the WEF, World Economic Forum, Young Leaders Programme. So you've got people like Starmer, Blair, going back in time, you know, Macron, Merkel, Trudeau,
Jacinda
Ardern, or what's the Scottish cranky woman? What's she called? Jimmy Cranky. Sturgeon, the fish.
Just remember when Mr. Trump's gambling empire was in trouble, who bailed him out?
Klaus.
No?
Rothschild.
Indeed.
Yeah. Can we also just
that's who he owes.
We take a minute to brief. We got Klaus Schwab stepped down from the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab, who looks exactly like a Bond villain, and they replaced him with a guy that couldn't look more like a Bond villain. Well, if they look like the bad guys, there's a chance they might be the bad guys. On the same day that the Pope died. And what was that video this week where he's got 3 hands? Very odd. Very odd. Yeah, very odd.
Can I just give a quick comment on the Beatles, by the way?
Beatles, let's go.
Beatles.
Somebody mentioned Mike Williams, Sage Quay. Yeah?
Yeah.
He's done the most research of anybody. He's the primary source of information. It goes back to about 2009 when Billy wrote the first book, which was called Billy's Back.
Billy Shears, as in Sergeant Pepper's. Let me introduce to you the one and only Shears.
Billy Campbell, whatever, you know, Bill Shepherd.
Yeah.
Way back, he wrote a book called Billy's Back.
That's the second book. The first one's called Billy Shears. The second one's called Billy's Back. That's the
What year was Billy Shears then? Billy's Back was 2009.
Details. Forget it.
Details are good to know.
He's then revised it twice. So we had it in 2008 called the 9 after 909 edition, if you're familiar with the song, and then dated it and was a little bit more, how can I put this, lucid with what he was trying to release, because he basically wants people to know him now. All the beans have been spilled, but the latest thing now is by a girl called Sharon Clemens. The book is called Forbidden Fruit, and this will decipher the mystery of all these cryptic lyrics on the likes of the Song album and all the other ones where you're talking about Semolina Pilchard climbing up the Eiffel Tower. All of these relate to Seattle landmarks. So that book is the one you need to go to. That's finally putting the mystery.
Sorry, I Am the Walrus, wasn't it, that song?
Yeah, I Am the Walrus, yeah. So Sharon Clemens, Forbidden Fruit, which was the apple, which don't forget was the label that the Beatles formed. And then, of course, another company with that phone.
Exactly.
And they were making various things in competition with the Beatles.
Yeah.
And they were suing the arse off them, but they were going, well, how much do you want? We'll pay you what you want. Billy became
The apple,
really rich
the
on the back of
apple is a very esoteric symbol. It was obviously taken from the Garden of Eden, and when Eve took the bite out of the apple, it became an esoteric symbol of sense, as Julian correctly says.
Forbidden fruit.
Yeah, forbidden fruit.
What else we got?
Go on then. Go for it.
One over there.
Go on, really shout loud.
So it's a bit random, and I don't know much about it myself, but I'm interested to know. What do you know about the Great British National Strike on the 24th of May? It seems to have appeared out of nowhere, and I'm just interested to find anything anyone knows about it.
Well, you don't mean the one from the 20th century, you mean one coming up.
It's coming up.
You know, I know about as much as you. I've seen it online all over social media.
It's appeared out of nowhere.
I hope it's roots movement. Yeah, right. I think it's long overdue.
If anyone knows anything about it, I'm interested.
Anyone?
I've no idea. Anybody?
I've seen bits and pieces.
I got nothing more really, but I do think it's long overdue.
I've never even heard of it.
Where did you see it?
But then again,
Come again?
Why do you think it's long overdue?
What, a national... I just feel like No, I feel like bringing the country to the knees is the only way that we're going to be able to get these politicians to realise that we can see what's going on and we've had enough of it.
Stop lying to us.
Stop lying to us. I don't know why this hasn't happened a long while ago. I guess it's because people are busy and they've got to earn money. But we should have a day where we just stop. But they've put stuff in place to, you can't bring a motorway to a standstill and all this stuff. I think my phone's recording, so. No, I'm just thinking, I've always wondered why, you got all these just stop oil stuff and all this crap, and I'm like, well, how hard is it to actually blockade a Tesco depot? Because do that and you get your results, but it's never happened. Strange.
And the other thing is, there are people out there's loads and loads of separate that we don't know about. I didn't know about this lady from Bromsgrove, I didn't know about certain people, I didn't know about you at times, I didn't know about you at times. So there are so many fragmented groups, so if somebody pops up, it's like he's been probably working.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Probably because, sorry, Robin,
yeah.
It's probably because we don't have a national media.
Exactly.
Everything we do is kind of very local, isn't it? That's the problem.
Fragmented. Yeah. And so we don't know about these people who've probably been trying really hard, who knows about Tayu and who knows about other people. They're really trying their best to be true and right. So we don't know, but it seems like a bloody good idea. And if we all stuck by it and did it, that would be game over. Wouldn't it? What are we doing for it then?
Nothing, that's the point.
Are we going to have a strike in this area? Shall we start a strike here in this town? Let's start one.
But it's not even what you're carrying is not, the first one is bringing a strike that is just, it's on a Saturday, so most people aren't working. So
Really?
Yeah, so he's done
Right.
Who's he?
Yeah, anybody that starts a protest and says they're trying to minimise the impact, minimise the impact on people's finances. Yeah, but people's finances have got to take a hit if we're going to. But here I am already belittling a movement that I know nothing about. So let's all do it. Right, whatever the Saturday day is, don't do anything. I'm a YouTuber, so I can't do anything anyway.
Yeah.
We can't hear this conversation.
Can't hear a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. No, well, like you said, I've seen it on social media, but that's not it. But I've seen it shared in lots of different places now, so maybe it is that it'll start to grow from here. So yeah, especially if we all go away and talk about national strike. Cool.
Can I just ask, let's change on the subject slightly. What are thoughts? I've always avoided religion all my life. I've always felt it's like a way to control people against each other with the different religions around them. And that's nothing against anyone with religions. But increasingly now, it's feeling like the Bible is like playing out in real time. Do you think Satan's an actual real person, or is it just some kind of myth?
I don't know, that's beyond my experience, beyond my research. I don't know. Personally speaking, I'm not religious, I'm not mainstream religious, but I am spiritual. I believe in the Creator. What form that takes, somebody gave me a right grilling about that last night. No, not last night, one of the other nights that I've been doing this week. I can't answer the question, what is the Creator? I don't know, but as far as Satan goes, I'm just clueless, basically. Maybe I'm just clueless, full stop. I don't know.
Why are all the people at the top worshipping him?
Yeah,
it must be real.
Well, this is where I get to.
Christianity.
Yeah.
Must be real.
So if you're interested in this sort of stuff from religion, I did a really good podcast with Doc Malik. If anyone's seen Doc Malik's stuff, we did a 3-hour podcast where we talk about, because I grew up with religion and I know my Bible pretty well, and I know a lot of the Christian stuff. And naturally, growing up, going into the 20s and whatnot, you drift away from it. But I found I end up going back there. And it's very interesting when you start to see things like, oh, well, there's going to be a vaccine passport, and then you'll be able to pay for things. And you go, well, hang on, Revelation of the Beast, without that, you will not be able to buy or sell things. And you go, and like you say, more and more, you start to see things, you go, I've read this before. At the same time, where I went with my understanding of the Bible is I go, well, if there's a God, then God made man, but man made language, which means if God talks to man, he doesn't use language because language is the tool of man. So that leaves you on energy and spirituality, and then you kind of like, you go a level above the written word, and you end up with humanity and human connection and energy, and you go in a whole different realm. But I can't explain why stuff in the Bible does seem to keep happening.
Do you not think it might be manipulated to be made to happen?
Yeah, there's that as well. And again, you know, maybe the Bible was then what Hollywood is now, dropping clues and tidbits and hints as to what's coming. So I don't know, that's where I got to with it. I just went, hang on a minute, if God is, then we wouldn't, it couldn't compute to me. And there's too many religions that, and that the one I came from, spent too much time focusing on, we need to analyse what it meant and what that word meant, without doing the whole, well, hang on, it was translated, and it was, you know, translated by people with an agenda on a book that was written 100 years after the events happened. And I was like, it doesn't make sense to me. I can distill from it that there's spirit and energy, and I understand that energy from different situations, but that doesn't mean that you have to go on a Sunday and mumble boring things in a room, as what Eddie Izzard said about it.
And sing very boring songs to a God who's going, that's great, give me some more of that.
Before Eddie Izzard went really, he did some brilliant sketches about it all.
Absolutely, I agree.
But then he went
I saw him
really
live.
strange.
I saw him live in the very early 90s on 2 or 3 occasions. I thought it was absolutely superb, but as you say,
I want you to stand in a very cold building and mumble things on Sundays. Yeah, something
very
like that.
weird.
It's very odd. Did you like that? Anyone else got anything else before we push start the Volvo?
Yeah, hang on.
I'm going to open the can on AI. Coming, pros and cons, see what the pros are potentially, but I don't know, in less than 10 years, 30% of the world's working will be unemployed. What the hell's that?
Well, do you want to take it, Geoff, or do you want to do it?
No, you go first, and I'll add it.
Yeah, I'm sure you know more about it actually. But yeah, again, we touched on it earlier. It's part of the depopulation thing. AI enables them to get rid of even more of us. So, you know, very swift answer, glib answer maybe, some people may say, but nevertheless it's true. AI is just another step down the technological route that is eliminating humans, in my view.
And it's worrying that with AI, it used to be a case of, oh, I'm on a live chat, I've got to try and work out if I'm talking to a human or not. But now that has extended to literally everything that you're seeing and consuming online. And I worry that we're getting to a stage where unless you're seeing it in front of your own eyes, you've got no guarantee that it's not AI that you're looking at, like with this Pope thing that we talked about with the 3 hands. And there's a lot of strange stuff about Princess Kate and all that sort of weird imagery. So yeah, good question there.
But you were just talking about that extra dimension of knowing the vibration, the energy that you get on interaction. That's what we've got to rely on now to make sure that's not AI, that's a human effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, human touch and human warmth and all that sort of stuff, all that stuff matters. That's why, you know, going back to the Bible, and we were joking about putting hands on the Volvo earlier, because that was the way that, you know, they said if someone's ill in the community, then everybody get together, go around and get your hands on them, because human energy means something. And I think that, you know, a whole lot of what we've been discussing tonight is about the fact that we've been lied to about what we actually are and what we're actually capable of. I don't think, and I think a lot of this for everyone in the room is, this is a quest to try and work out, well, where did we come from and what are we here for? Because we all understand that it's not the thing that we all that it is. We're capable of more, and we're destined for more, and we're always maybe the people that are awake have acknowledged that there's something more to what we're here for, and we're all trying to work it out.
Can I just kind of expand on that a little bit? So, sorry to kind of hijack your question, but this is kind of going off on a tangent a little bit. With Robin and Julian and I in here, we had a discussion this morning over breakfast about, well, basically about, we're talking about what makes people receptive, responsive to the truth movement. Why are you all here? A few years ago, I did a kind of a little survey, well, quite a big survey actually, amongst all the people that I knew, all my contacts, etc., as to how they became awake. What was it that motivated them to become awake? And there was absolutely nothing in that survey to say there was no pattern to it, is what I'm trying to say. So it wasn't age, it wasn't sex, it wasn't religious beliefs, nothing. There was no discernible pattern in that. What makes us as a group be awake, be aware of what is really going on, whereas many people who are supposedly intelligent, supposedly, even very educated people reject all this truth, reject it out of hand. And the only conclusion that I personally came to many months afterwards was that we are all old souls. Okay, so we've been around the block several times. All of us, we have been here many times before, and we're kind of born with this innate awareness of what's going on, although it doesn't kind of manifest itself overtly, but it's deep within our psyche somewhere. So that is what I believe personally. We're all older souls. The younger souls have still got a lot more learning to do before they can join the ranks of the awake.
Yeah.
If that all makes sense.
It does, that's spot on.
Yes. So yeah, I know that was a bit of a diversion from what we were talking about. I just thought that might be interesting.
It's the same thing.
So we're talking about AI without technology and Google and YouTube and Geoff buys cars who might be imaginary on YouTube. We wouldn't be here, would we?
Yeah.
We'd have still been living in our old lives where we didn't understand anything, we just read the newspapers. So could it be positive, what's happening?
I think it can be, and I think the other side, and I keep, if you've watched my camper van restoration videos, I work a lot with my buddy Phil, who's one of my oldest friends. A lot of deep conversations about this stuff. We're always discussing the fact that the internet is becoming, as much as the internet is developing, it's getting harder and harder to use because the results are so manipulated. It's actually more difficult to find the thing that you're looking for. Same with consumer news as well. Go on a local news website, how many adverts do you have to click? You've got to get rid of so many cookie notifications before you get anywhere. And maybe as technology progresses, what I'm hoping will happen with cars is people will look back and go, do you know what? I don't want a car that bings and bongs every single time I try to do something. And if I run up the road without my seatbelt on, I don't want my car to shout at me. And maybe that will happen with the internet, and people will start to look towards a simple way of doing things. And we've seen it with smartphones as well. There's a dumb phone movement where people don't want to be constantly tracked and monitored, and they do just want to go back to a basic Nokia with phone and text. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe the internet will develop so much that it undevelops itself.
But what we got to do is keep meeting.
Absolutely.
That's the important thing. Keep meeting.
Venues like this is so important. Nokia 3310. Well done.
But he's here. He actually made it without a smartphone, which is great. He actually
does it have text, or is it just a phone?
Text, but just text.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not it.
And he gets signal. Yeah, anyway, watch the
my
mic
God.
on. What is going on with
my first mobile phone was about that big like that, and it had a big aerial that you pulled out like that, and the text, it was just simply a phone.
I'm here and I've got no computer, no internet, I have no smartphone, I have nothing to do with it. But I'm here and I meet people in person.
Yeah.
And get to know
the old-fashioned act of having a conversation.
And that's what we need to be doing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
We can't be